so many of the barriers in our own lives, temporally, spiritually, whatever, are our own self-placed barriers. It's thinking that I can't because I'm not good enough, or I can't because I'm not strong enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not funny enough, I'm not smart enough, whatever. It's the I can'ts, right? And really, as long as you have the Lord on your side, it should be I will go and do.
We are Saints in the South, your source for gospel growth and good times.
Welcome to another episode of Saints in the South. This is episode 244. Come follow me. We are happy that you're with us this week. Glad to have you listening or watching, and we appreciate you. We are in the book of Ether this week. So we have finished with the Book of Mormon, in the Book of Mormon. And now we are in the book of Ether, chapters 1 through 5. And the title of our lesson this week is Rend That Veil of Unbelief.
And just so our listeners know, this is today is Wednesday, November 6th, that we're recording this. So that means that Election Day was yesterday. So we're coming off of that as we do this podcast. Do we start out reading this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and read that introduction for us. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Ether 1 through 5. While it is true that God's ways are higher than ours and we should always submit to his will, he also encourages us to think and act for ourselves. That's one lesson Jared and his brother learned. For example, the idea of traveling to a land that was choice above all the earth seemed to start with Jared, and the Lord granted the request, saying to the brother of Jared, "Thus I will do unto thee, because this long time you have cried unto me." And when the brother of Jared needed light inside the barges that would carry them to the promised land, the Lord asked a question that we usually ask him. "What will you that I should do?" the Lord asked. He wants to hear our thoughts and ideas, and he will listen and give his confirmation or counsel us otherwise. Sometimes the only thing separating us from the blessings we seek is our own veil of unbelief, or as Joe would say, our own circle of ink around ourselves. And if we can rend that veil, we may be surprised by what the Lord is willing to do for us.
Awesome.
Yeah, Joe shared a video with us. Joe, what's that video talking about? Ant
Yeah,
and
it's just a
spider?
little, it was the ant and the spider. It was a viral video, I guess, online where someone, there's an ant on a piece of paper and they draw a circle around it with just an ink pen or a marker. And then that line becomes a barrier to the ant. It will not cross it. And it's just trapped. It's stuck there. And they draw a smaller circle and it's stuck there. Or they would have an ant walking along and they draw just a line in front of it and it has to go around it. It won't cross the line. And it's just an impassable barrier for it. And the same thing with spider. And eventually you draw a small enough circle to where there's nowhere else for the spider to go and it crosses the line. And once it's crossed the line, though, it's like it realizes it wasn't a barrier at all. It's just in my mind. It's just in my head. It's this veil of unbelief that I can't cross it. I can't do it.
And the guy with a biro draws a circle around the ant. And the ant runs to the edge of the circle and believes it's trapped. And it will not cross that line. Looking down on it from a bird's eye view, you go, oh no, it's just a figment of its imagination. They do the same with the spider. They draw a circle around it with a biro. It will not cross that line. As the guy's drawing the circle smaller and smaller, he accidentally draws it so close to the spider that the spider steps over the biro, and then it can never be trapped by the biro again. And you watch it just run off the page, and he's trying to trap it again, and it can never, because it realizes that's just a wall it's built in its mind.
And I think it's such a powerful lesson, especially because then it's learned and you draw a line in front of it, a circle around, doesn't matter. Now the spider just walks right past it. And so it's just, I think, a powerful object lesson in realizing that so many of the barriers in our own lives, temporally, spiritually, whatever, are our own self-placed barriers. It's thinking that I can't because I'm not good enough, or I can't because I'm not I'm not strong enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not funny enough, I'm not smart enough, whatever. It's the I can'ts, right? And really, as long as you have the Lord on your side, it should be an I will go and do, and I tell my kids success comes in cans, not in can'ts. And so that's
Yeah.
that's the way that go for it. And I was telling the young women tonight that life is meant to be lived, not to be watched from the sideline. And you can't be good at something until you're bad at something first. So go out there and mess it up, be terrible at it for a while, but each time you do it, you're going to get a little better and a little better, and eventually people are going to start complimenting you on whatever it is you chose to do, whether it's singing or playing some instrument or playing some sport or speaking or photography is what we talked about tonight. But just go for it, live life.
Yeah.
I think they talk about that a lot when you speak with older folks and you talk about their wisdom. And they all say the same thing. Well, wisdom just means I made a lot more mistakes than you did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be wise and not make mistakes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
and
right.
sometimes there's things that happen in our lives that cause us, even if we didn't have it before, we can have things in our lives that cause us to start to doubt ourselves. It reminds me of the circus elephants, and they would have these humongous elephants just tied up with like a really small chain and a shackle around one leg, tied to a peg that was just hammered into the
they
ground.
Could easily just pull
something
out.
So
or
you
break.
know this. Yeah. So something easily, the elephant could easily break the chain or pull the stake out of the ground. But the thing is, what they do is when the elephant's a baby, they chain it up that way. And when it's a baby, it can't do it. And it'll fight and pull on that chain and yank on it for days. But it'll eventually reach a point where it learns that I can't break this. And once the baby elephant gets that in its head, it's there for life. And the baby elephant will, for the rest of its life, believe that it is incapable of breaking that small chain.
I'm gonna speak up, and go to bat for Southerners in general, but men specifically, because we are so hard-headed. And I mean, maybe I'm speaking up for too many people, but so hard-headed as Southerners that just bristle at the idea of someone telling us what to do.
Who you call hard-headed?
Oh man, hey, I resemble that remark.
That's right.
But just where, I mean, you see these examples in film and in stories and stuff like that, to where they just will not relent. They're not the elephant, that they will just keep on pulling at it and keep on pulling at it, because you're not going to tell me that I'm going to have to stay chained up here. And eventually you get strong enough, they're going to rip it out of the ground. But there's some of those examples, but I just think there's something in Southerners that just, they have a problem with authority in general, and just a rebellious kind of attitude. I mean, even,
oh my gosh, no wonder I fit in so well here.
That's right. Keeping it in check is one of life's things, learning to control your emotions and get along with others and submit your will to the Father. That's a big part of life, but yeah, I just see that, and
that's
funny.
cool though. To me, it's cool.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yep.
It's interesting that, to me, it's very interesting that this comes, that we're studying this lesson right after the election, the presidential election in 2024, because of the wording in Ether, right? The first one being that he was going to be led to a land that was choice above all the earth. The fact that that's in there, and I've been to different countries. You guys have too, and I think people are pretty cool everywhere. Yeah, but it's just really, interesting, really nice, and beautiful countries, right? But it's interesting that the Lord would use those words. And the other thing that kind of got me as I was reading in Ether was when they were traveling, it talked about they were going out to where no man had traveled before, no one had gone before, so to speak. And I'm thinking, I understand this was around the time of the Tower of Babel, or Babel, however you pronounce it. But it's weird that no one had ever like ventured past that. No one ever got the southern
rebelliousness
or desire or curiosity to like, hey, what's over there? Let's go check that out. Let's venture out a little bit more. But the other thing too was in Ether chapter 2, verse 12, talking about the Americas, with the land that we live now, or some of us do anyway.
Yeah.
It says, behold, this is a choice land, and whatsoever nation shall possess it shall be free from bondage and from captivity and from all other nations under heaven, if they will but serve the God of the land, who is Jesus Christ, who hath been manifested by the things which we have written. To me, it's very interesting and pretty cool, that this comes right after our election just happened yesterday and into today.
Timely.
Very timely.
Yeah.
And one of the powerful things, and we're going to get into more of this later, not on the come follow me part, but the thing that filled my heart full of gladness as people were debating and people were talking, as the nearer that we got to the election, you could see the divisions getting further apart. And you see one group that starts acknowledging Jesus Christ and God is the Lord and God is the Father, and that's who we really need to get back to. And then the other one's like, I think you're at the wrong rally, sort of thing. And I was like, wow. I mean, because before it was like, and then they start making this separation. But and I know that a lot of people were anticipating what was going to happen and everything, and probably stayed up all night to find out what the results were. And something weird happened to me, and I don't know if it's just because I'm getting old, which is probably 95% of it. But I just got this huge peace about me, and I was like, I started thinking about, the things that I pray for. And I'm like, either way, I think this is going to be great, whoever wins. Because if one certain party wins, then I think we're just going to be that much closer to when Jesus Christ comes back.
Right. Yeah.
Because we know it's going to get worse before it gets better, right? Before he comes back. And then the other one was, well, if the other party wins, then maybe this country, maybe this nation can finally heal. So either way, I'm like, I'm good. Either way, I'm good. I've done everything that I think that I should have done. I went and I cast my vote. I let my voice be heard. I talked to people about my opinions. And then, so whatever, I can't even think how that's worded, but let it be whatever it is, right?
Fall where they may, maybe, or something
like that. But yeah.
No, you got to go Moana style. Come what may.
That's what I was thinking of. Come what may. And I was like, come what may, I did what I did, right? I did all I could do. So it was just weird. I don't know. I've never had that kind of peace before as I went to bed, just like not even worrying about it.
Remind me about that peace and the linger longer.
Okay.
Comment on that.
Peace out.
Peace out. Yeah. I was going to say,
that's awesome.
With that and exercising your rights and voting and those types of things, and comparing and contrasting, and how the divisions seem to be more pronounced, or at least more clear. I'm with you on that, and I think that does tie in with Ether in exactly in the heading or the intro there, talking about the Lord saying, "What would you have me do?" Right?
I know.
Like he's asking you to use your brain, and I love that. I think President Pittman, our state president, gave an excellent talk about that a little while back. I don't recall the setting, and I don't have my notes with me, but I remember him breaking it down into kind of, if I recall, it's three different takeaways from that conversation between the brother Jared and the Lord on how to get light, or how to build these barges, how to get light in there and stuff. And it was interesting to hear that breakdown, in that basically, you have your own idea, and then you get the Lord's approval and stuff, and then at some point you just get to where you say, Lord, I just need you to do this. And he says, got you. Boop. You got light now.
Yeah.
But
Is that what he
I
said?
think it was, yep, that was boop. That's what did it.
Boop.
It wasn't the clap on light, it was the boop light. So.
Yeah.
I got you.
Good. Here.
Tight, like onto a dish.
Yes, but when it is sealed, there will be no light or air.
O Lord, I have performed the work which thou hast commanded me, and I have made the barges according as thou hast directed me. O Lord, in them there is no light. Whither shall we steer? And also we shall perish, for in them we cannot breathe, save it is the air which is in them.
Thou shalt make a hole in the top and also in the bottom. And when thou shalt suffer for air, thou shalt unstop the hole and receive air. And if it so be that the water come in upon thee, ye shall stop the hole, that ye may not perish in the flood.
Jared, are you almost finished?
Nearly.
Well done. But there's still no light. O Lord, I have done even as thou hast commanded me, and I have prepared the vessels for my people. And behold, there is no light in them. Wilt thou suffer that we shall cross this great water in darkness?
What will ye that I should do, that ye may have light in your vessels? For behold, ye cannot have windows, for they will be dashed in pieces. Neither shall ye take fire with you. Ye shall be as a whale in the midst of the sea, for the mountain waves shall dash upon you. Nevertheless, I will bring you up again out of the depths of the sea. I prepare you against these things. Therefore, what will ye that I should prepare for you, that ye may have light?
O Lord, do not be angry with thy servant because of his weakness before thee. We are unworthy before thee. Lord, thou hast given us a commandment that we must call upon thee, that from thee we may receive according to our desires. I know, O Lord, that thou hast all power, and can do whatsoever thou wilt for the benefit of man. Therefore, touch these stones, O Lord, with thy finger, and prepare them that they may shine forth in darkness. And they shall shine forth in the vessels which we have prepared, that we may have light while we cross the sea. O Lord, thou canst do this. We know thou art able to show forth great power, which looks small unto the understanding of men.
Arise. Why hast thou fallen?
I saw the finger of the Lord, and I feared lest he should smite me, for I knew not that the Lord had flesh and blood.
Because of thy faith, thou hast seen that I shall take upon me flesh and blood. And never has man come before me with such exceeding faith as thou hast. For were it not so, ye could not have seen my finger. Sawest thou more than this?
Nay, Lord, show thyself unto me.
Believest thou the words which I shall speak?
Yea, Lord, I know that thou speakest the truth, for thou art a God of truth, and canst not lie.
Because thou knowest these things, ye are redeemed from the fall. Therefore ye are brought back into my presence. Therefore I show myself unto you. Behold, I am he who was prepared from the foundation of the world, to redeem my people. Behold, I am Jesus Christ. I am the Father and the Son. In me shall all mankind have life, and that eternally, even they who shall believe on my name. And they shall become my sons and my daughters. And never have I showed myself unto man whom I have created, for never has man believed in me as thou hast. Behold, this body is the body of my spirit, and man have I created after the body of my spirit. And even as I appear unto you to be in spirit, will I appear unto my people in the flesh. Thou shalt not suffer these things which ye have seen and heard to go forth unto the world until the time cometh that I shall glorify my name in the flesh. Ye shall treasure up the things which ye have seen and heard, and show it to no man. Write them and seal them up. And these 2 stones will I give unto thee, and ye shall seal them up also with the things which ye shall write. Go down and write the things which you have seen.
Special lights.
You know, but anyway, so yeah, I remember that, and I really like that. And this that's something that's always stood out is you got to use God gave you a brain, use it. You know, seek out His confirmation, but use that brain.
Yeah, but you know what's even more interesting? I mean, I shouldn't use the word but. Let's say and to me, what's even more interesting to tag onto that is when we really start thinking about something and we get an idea, a good idea,
Right?
Where does it come from for real? I mean,
Inspiration.
Right. So even when the Lord said, well, what would you have me do? And he's thinking this
Right.
out, he's still going to get inspiring thoughts from the Lord, but he's going through the work. That's the part. To me, that's what it is he's going through the work. He's going through the process. And that's what the Lord wanted him to experience more, was the work, the experience, the process of going through that.
Yeah, you get the inspiration, but then to accomplish it, you got to get the perspiration.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Like I used to always tell people when they would say, so as a high counselor, what's the biggest thing I should do? I'm like, well, 95% of it is showing up.
Yeah.
If you have an assigned ward and you're supposed to be there on the second for Sunday, show up. Show up. That's 95% of it right there.
Mm-hmm.
The other 5% the Lord will help you with.
That's right.
There's a author named Brene Brown, I think was her name, and she says something. There's a good quote about. She's a really fun author to read from.
In the field of social work. Yeah, she's kind of a guru.
She's a good like. I think of her as like most of her books are like coaches' speeches before games or at halftime. You know, like they pump you up and kind of speeches. That's how her books are. Anyway, she had a quote that says something about that. How did it go? Oh, that each time you show up, you get a little stronger, you get a little better just by showing up. That's part of the process and part of courage. I think is what she tied it into. Well,
Yeah.
anyway.
And having faith, I think that's another point that I saw in this lesson is even before the barges were built or any of that, when they when the languages were being confounded,
Mm-hmm.
they the family went into a panic, and
Mm-hmm.
when the brother Jared is like, it basically said, you're in tight with God. What
Yeah.
you need to pray for us right now.
That's
Why
right.
don't you pray
Yeah.
for us?
That's right.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
does. He drops to his knees and he prays, and sure enough, none of the family, their language wasn't confounded. They were all able to still understand each other and gather together and go from there.
Man,
He
what a
obviously
time.
had a lot of faith.
Can you imagine that being there and all of a sudden you can't understand one another? That'd be chaos.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of interesting because it's like the exact opposite of what happened at the day of Pentecost.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Where people were actually speaking different languages, but they could understand each other.
Yeah.
Here
Pretty
it is.
cool.
They're just talking, and all of a sudden they can't understand each other. Like, what do you say?
Yeah.
What are these words?
Pen-
They don't make any sense.
Pentecost in reverse, huh?
That's
I
right.
think that's Costapent.
Oh, could be.
Constant. I get that sometimes. I have to. Think
That's right. You were talking about how much you love cheese. So,
That's right. He was all the cheeses.
yeah. I'm gonna buy you some Limburger and just to see.
I think you should
like that.
see if he likes
I would
it or
try
not.
it. I've never met a cheese I didn't like. I love cheese.
I don't know, man. I can smell Limburger through the foil wrapper. Like if you ever wanted to transport drugs across the border and want to throw the dogs off the
You
scent, just
Put the
put it with
drugs
some
in Limburger
Limburger.
cheese.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think we need I don't know, some sort of linger longer or live or something where Kenny eats cheeses. Like we're just gonna be like,
Ooh.
I'm gonna give you some cheese.
That's a lot of cheese.
Like a
Watch
reaction video.
Kenny's reaction to different cheeses.
yes, yeah.
Get
That's
some
what we should
crazy
do.
cheeses.
Some
What the cheese?
yeah.
I like the stronger cheeses. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to try Limburger. Because I know as far as like cheddar cheese, I mean, obviously mild cheddar cheese is good. I like it, but if I have my preference, the sharper the
You
better.
like the sharp stuff?
I like my cheddar so sharp it cuts my mouth when I eat it.
That
Sharp
was a
Yeah,
cheesy. That was a cheesy joke.
It was pretty cheesy.
Ah,
When when we were when my kids were still at home and we would read the Book of Mormon, one of our favorite books was Ether. And we would talk about everything was tight like unto a dish, like unto
Yep.
yeah.
tight
That's
like
tight.
unto a dish, and would say, "Hey, how tight is that? Is it tight like unto a dish?" But isn't it to me? It's pretty interesting because this technique of building the barges and things, it required him to do a lot of thinking. The way the Lord was instructing him, and then people would say, "Okay, well, we're going to do it," but man, dude, seriously, how are we going to breathe in there? It required him to go back to the Lord often.
Yeah.
Which is again part of the process the Lord wanted him to learn. But it's pretty cool how it was designed and whatnot. And didn't they? I can't remember for sure. Didn't they bring like bees with them as well, like honeybees?
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the honeybees like come over in a separate barge, or were they like in the barge with them?
I don't know.
I
There's a lot of
wouldn't want to
questions,
be in
like-
that barge. I would not
I-
want to be
I
in the
wouldn't-
honeybee barge.
Yeah, I've wondered about things like using the bathroom.
I think that's what the thing was in the bottom. Why they had a hole in the bottom, because they had one
Yeah,
in the
all of
top
us
that
do.
they could stop up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would they? I guess would they
That's
be able
nice,
to?
nice, Joe. Nice.
Would they
They
be
had
able
one
to?
in the bottom that they could stop up.
But if they pulled the stopper out of the bottom, wouldn't the barge sink? Because then
Not if you keep the top one.
That's right. Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, so if you keep the seal,
top
you
one,
know what? I never thought about that.
yeah, you can open the bottom one. To me, it was like, even as a kid, I was like, I wonder if they went fishing. Like they opened the bottom, like let's get a fish.
I think
That's what we're gonna eat.
They would have to, because they were. It was right at a year, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
They were on the waters. Yeah, it was
long time.
300 something day. It was right around a year that they were in those little barges on the water.
And sometimes it'd be
they didn't even know
above the water. Yeah,
they didn't know where they were going. They didn't know how long it would take. And I can't even imagine the amount of faith that would be required, because if it was me, after about the first week, I'd be probably start freaking out. You know, like what is that? We've been out here a long time. Like, when are we going to find this land? And
get on your side of the barge.
He's breathing my air.
That's right. To bees or not to bees?
That's right. I would be the not to bees.
That's right. And another thing that's really interesting about this, as we start in the Book of Ether, you know, this is what, like was it 1,000 years roughly before Lehi and his family came over to the New World. Mm-hmm. So they actually had these records. So like the records here, the Book of Ether that we're starting on this week would have been like the Book of Mormon or the scripture that they had, because this was ancient at the time that, you know, that they were on this continent.
Yeah.
I just got to thinking about it. You're asking, do they come on the bees on the same barge or different barge or whatever? I'm not sure, but I know where Noah put his bees.
Yeah, I feel a joke coming.
Down in the archive.
Oh man. Yep.
And the cheese keeps coming.
The cheese is coming. It's nonstop stinky cheese.
Yep. And then then they came to the New World and everybody started fighting and raising up armies. And you know where Nephi kept his armies?
Where?
Up his sleeveys.
Oh man. Boo.
You got it.
That's funny.
But the you know, what we learn in chapter 4 is, because we always talk about the you know, the sealed part of the plates, right? That Joseph Smith couldn't translate, the sealed part. And I know I've read this hundreds of times, you know, and probably heard about it hundreds of times. But in chapter 4 is when we actually learn what the sealed portion is, because that's where Moroni is actually commanded to seal up the writings of the brother of Jared, and that they're not going to be revealed until men have faith enough as the brother of Jared. So the sealed portion of the Book of Mormon is the writings of the brother of Jared. It must be incredible.
You know,
I thought that Joseph Smith revealed his name as Moron High Moriankumer.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
if I recall.
Yeah, I think there's even a song about him. Moron High Moriankumer.
John
cheese.
Yeah, that's the one. I know that one. That's my ringtone.
Is it?
I believe it.
Yeah. I think Joseph Smith revealed that as Moron High Moriankumer.
But yeah, like I still feel bad for the guy though. It's constantly.
Well, no one wanted to say it. It was too long.
As the brother of Jared, it'd be like
it's just a little bit easier.
It'd be like if we constantly just referred to you as the husband of Ramey.
That's right.
Yeah, we were on the podcast the other night, me and Joe and the husband of Ramey were talking.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I refer to him now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Oh, hey, are you Jared's brother? Yeah.
That's right.
That's me. And then, of course, in chapter 5, it talks about the three witnesses, describing how the three witnesses will be shown the plates, and in the mouth of three witnesses shall all these things be established. And I just remember reading and watching the videos and stuff of when Joseph Smith was translating that, and they read it. It was like, who? I wonder if I could be one of the three witnesses that they're talking about here. Could I be one of them?
Yeah.
And the excitement that they felt that they could actually be fulfilling prophecy, that they would actually be the ones that were fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And a pretty exciting time, for the three witnesses and for the church and the restoration of all things. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I was thinking too. I think Michael, when you were talking earlier, the last verse of chapter 1, and there's the promise that the Lord makes, and he says, "And there will I bless thee and thy seed, and raise up unto me of thy seed, and of the seed of thy brother, and they who shall go with thee, a great nation. And there shall be none greater than the nation which I will raise up unto me of thy seed upon all the face of the earth. And thus I will do unto thee, because this long time ye have cried unto me." So there's definitely that's an awesome promise.
As big as the Lamanite and Nephite nation was combined, they weren't bigger than this one.
No.
We're not bigger than the Jaredite nation. Can you imagine how big it must have been? And then just completely, well, we'll talk about it later, but completely destroyed itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was a book by Diamond called Collapse. The book before that was Guns, Germs, and Steel, and it talked about civilizations, how some civilizations advanced so rapidly and they're landing people on the moon, while other civilizations still were hunter-gatherers at the same time. Why? How does that happen? And then they took an opposite view, wrote another book about collapse. Why is it that some civilizations rapidly took off? They're building mega cities, they're doing brain surgeries, and now they're completely gone. So how does that happen? And so Collapse was an interesting read that kind of talks about that. The Jaredite nation was massive, and then they just killed each other off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we got, I guess this is our introduction to the Jaredites, and it just gets better from here. It is a very, very interesting account.
Mm-hmm.
But important enough that Moroni felt he should add it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He should add that record in there. So very interesting. So there's got to be something that we're supposed to glean from it for sure.
There you go. So we kicking off our study of the Jaredites, and pick it up where we left off next week. Until then, y'all keep on striving.
From the south. Come on.
Excellent.
All right. Excelente.